This game needs a sequel, and if you've played this game, you already know why, and if you haven't, well, I'm going to tell you. But before I do that, if you would like to OD on my content, feel free to subscribe to the channel and drop any video suggestions down in the comments. Thank you so much in advance, and let's just get into it. It's been 10 years since I first heard about Sunset Overdrive. Back in E3 2013, Microsoft released a trailer for a new exclusive IP. Afterwards, I had one thought in mind. I need to play that. Mind you, I was Team PS4 in 2013, back when I thought you needed a team. Now as an adult, I know there really aren't any teams, and you don't have to be loyal to no color. It took me a while to realize that. So, when I did finally get an Xbox One, I knew what game I wanted to play. Sunset Overdrive. The game starts at the FizzCo pre-release party for their new energy drink Overcharge Delirium XT, or Overcharge for short. All hell breaks loose when all of a sudden anyone who drinks it transforms into a mutant called Overcharge Drinker, or OD for short. Now, obviously FizzCo don't want this to come out to the public, so they quarantine the whole city. Now you, as the player, a FizzCo worker, are saved by our old buddy Walter, who is trying to build a plane to get the hell out of here. You quickly get situated to who and what's going on with no filler, which I love. The best way I can describe this game is punk rock. Everything about it, from the visuals to the meta sarcastic comedy tone to the colors and especially the art direction. The visuals are colorful and clunky. I don't think you ever see less than 10 colors on screen at the same time. I could be exaggerating, but you know, who cares. And the way cutscenes are directed reminded me of movies like Scott Pilgrim, which I love. The game is hilarious too. It has a super meta approach, making fun of itself and the industry as a whole, similar to games like Saints Row and No More Heroes, before they sucked. It doesn't take itself too serious at all, which I love, with everything from sarcastic quips to movie references when you die. I love that dying isn't a big deal either. The game knows it's a game and throws realism out the window. There's no loading after death, which I also love. Now, your playground is Sunset City. I would say it's like a medium-sized map full of collectibles, activities, sections to explore, and of course side missions. Now, the way you traverse this medium-sized map is by grinding on anything you see. The game is designed for fast, fun traversal and chaotic combat. Your character on foot is slow, but I feel like that's on purpose. They want you to be jumping, grinding, bouncing, hooking around, and for good reason. It's really fun to do so. Add guns to the mix and you have one hell of a good time. This is by far the best part of the game, the traversal and the combat. Once you master all of that and you're able to blend everything I mentioned seamlessly, it offers great fluidity, fast-paced combat, and creative expression. Being able to combine different guns for attacks, like you can freeze a big mofo, then chuck some acid on him, or pelt him with a teddy bear dynamite explosive, is oddly freeing. You can kill anybody any which way you want. There's also an auto lock system helping with guns feel really great while shooting, and responsive as well. It's very fun and satisfying gameplay. I thought there were way too many weapons, but this is actually a good thing because each weapon levels up by using them. I found myself using the ones I liked and just stuck to those, which is great, offering a personal experience to each player. The game really wants you to do what you want. It could give you a little FOMO if you're not used to some of the guns, or you really don't want some of the guns. You could probably neglect a lot of them and making you feel bad. I kind of did. Amps are the power-ups. This whole system, again, helps with the personalized experience. But to even get to use these, you need to rack them some points for the style meter. You do this by jumping, grinding, bouncing, and hooking around, basically just being super cool and creating major chaos. The overdrives are like special attacks, and you unlock badges to boost them. But you kind of unlock them unknowingly just by playing, so you're boosting your own playstyle, which I love. There are so many overdrives, they kind of feel like they don't really matter though. But along with a ton of OD, there are also bad guys called scabs. There are other survivors looting the city, basically doing what you're doing, but in a bad way. You will mainly encounter hordes upon hordes of OD, and there's a lot of kill this section of OD, or you must protect the blank. The gameplay is just so fun, you just ignore the repetition in the side missions and are glad to partake in them. They mix in different types of OD very well. The boss fights are awesomely fun and epic. For me, they came in at the right time. As soon as I made a note of like, this game could use some boss fights, I ran into my first one. And oddly, this just didn't happen with the boss fights. It happened with everything. When I felt like the game needed a little extra something, it gave it to me, like a dash or a higher double jump or stuff like that. Any cool upgrades to the gunplay, I got them. I feel like the main focus of the whole game is expression, from the way you play to what you use to shoot, and especially the way you look. And the customization options of the character are pretty awesome. You can be as serious or as silly as you want to be, but physically, the options are a tad lackluster, with limited face options and only 4 different body types. I guess that's only what you really need, especially for his art style, but a little bit more variety would have been appreciated. Even with the music and the voice work being super great, if you're really not doing a mission or in conflict, there's no music and it feels a little bit too silent. I know it was used for audio cues, but when there's no music playing, the absence of it is super clear, making me wish there was a soundtrack playing at all times. I feel like Insomniac went, okay, let's take Infamous and Tony Hawk, smack them together, add a little punk rock, guns and ghouls, and let's see what we get. And what we got was a cult classic. Anyone who plays this game loves it, and is definitely a must-play from the 8th generation of consoles. So why is this so dirt cheap now? I almost take it as disrespect for how cheap you can get it now. I get it, it's on the Game Pass and that hurts the value, but when it released, no one cared. The reviews were really high for a new IP, but the sales just weren't there, and they never really got there either. I can't really explain why a good game all around doesn't succeed financially. Maybe the fact that it was a Microsoft exclusive and that's not their audience for this type of game could be it. I don't know. But now that Now that Sony owns it, will we ever see a sequel? The sad truth is that Sony really aren't focusing on the IP right now, and it presents too many risks jumping from one console to another. Maybe Sony doesn't want to compete with itself with their Infamous series either, and Insomniac is focusing right now on the Spideys and the Ratchet & Clank franchise. And that's a lot on their plate already, but the demand from fans is definitely there for a Sunset Overdrive 2. It's super fun, chaotic, and an all-out punk rock time. Hopefully Sony reconsiders and gives us the sequel we need. Never say never on sequels, just like we did with Psychonauts 2. We eventually got it, but was it worth the wait? Well, click right here to find out. I have a video for you on it right here. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, dude and dudettes, and remember to always and forever, you do you.